Okay, if you're trying to get up your courage, I actually have some of your okay, yeah, okay, so, Heather mentioned a new science path. Wanna
Yes, that's a great question. So, science is a brand new subject that we've added. So, to be honest, it is a little bit less of a fulsome curriculum versus our math curriculum. For math, we have almost every skill, grades 1 through 8 for the math curriculum, and it is a member only feature. So, if you are a premium member on Prodigy, you can get access to the science curriculum. And when you log into your student's account, it'll ask you if you want to learn math or science, essentially. And if you say science, you'll be able to get the science questions within Prodigy there. And then Kara asked, does it matter what grade I technically label my child with initially? It does, because that gives us a bit of a starting point. So when we do our placement test, we actually consider that grade, but we don't take it as a concrete kind of line in the sand. So what we do is we actually start with questions a couple grade levels below to see if your students might be might have mastered those already or might still be having difficulty. And then we try to work them up to the grade level that you've selected. And then we try to work them even a little bit beyond that to see where the right place to start them is. And after that, obviously, the adaptive algorithm takes over.
yeah, so,
Um,
is there a benefit to increasing it once they progress to a new level? Or, for example, a child who's really gifted but might have some gaps in what they've learned before, what would you recommend?
So, Kara, if you're talking about the grade override, that's a little bit different than what I described. So, there is an option to override Prodigy's adaptive algorithm on your parent dashboard. And what that does is it essentially just keeps your students on that grade. So, if you apply a grade override of grade 5, they're only going to get grade 5 questions. We don't put them up to grade 6. We don't pull them down to grade 4. That's all they get. That's kind of like a you just want them to work on grade 5. So you've specified that. What I had referred to earlier on is when a child first comes into the game, we ask, what grade are you in? And they can select grade 3. And that's what's the starting point for a replacement test. So I would actually recommend not using the grade override if you want our adaptive algorithm to take over. But if you really specifically want them to work on, only grade 6 questions, then you can use that grade override.
Is there a way to redo placement quarterly versus semi-annually?
Fortunately not. It's only semi-annually. Can I ask why, what you were thinking there, Anne?
Just come
And
up.
it all,
Great, welcome.
What I'm thinking is, so I have a child who is curriculum wise a year ahead in math, but on
Mhm.
Prodigy, so we're doing fourth grade curriculum, but yet we're placing in third grade and we continue to place it. And so I'm trying to figure out why is Prodigy at that level, but yet we're doing, fourth grade curriculum and having no problem.
I see. So sometimes if you've done most of third grade, but there might still be some skills where there are gaps, we might place kids on third grade just to be safe. That doesn't mean that they don't know any of third grade. In fact, they might know like almost all of the third grade content. We just want to make sure that there are no gaps before the.
If you're finding you're getting the same problems over and over again and that your child's consistently getting them right, is there a way to kind of bounce them back or bounce them up to fourth grade and stop getting those questions?
That's where the grade override might come in, but typically they shouldn't be getting stuck and getting questions right.
Yeah, I personally found it really valuable. During the pandemic, we had a kid who we really needed to prepare for seventh grade math so he could enter his school at the right level. And I would just be consistently going in and seeing where he was scoring 60, 70% and assigning him a ton of questions in that area until
Mhm.
he mastered that. And then we would assign him in the next set of questions. Wow. So there's someone who override and assigned assessments once we moved forward, and her child jumped 3 grades between the 2 assessments she took 6 months apart.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it also asks, do you plan to update the goals to be by fives? Can you explain what you mean by that?
So right now you have to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It'd be great to have
Oh,
15, 25. I know that 5 doesn't seem to make it to you might not make a difference, but it does to the kids when you have a daily goal for them.
that's great feedback. Thank you for that. One other thing we were thinking is potentially ingesting some of the homeschool curriculum, like some of the ones that you're using currently, Mammoth Math, Beast Academy, First in Math, etc.